Folks, did you pay a premium for nothing? I'll get into that, and then the latest home prices and insights for the Pickering Durham region for week ending January 15th, 2025. Everybody kind of gets the concept of paying extra for a better lot. You pay a premium. So if your lot has a ravine view versus the opposite side of the street does not have a ravine view or does not say back onto a ravine, most people kind of are okay with you're going to pay extra for the home that backs out onto a ravine. That lot is more valuable, and people generally get that. But sometimes we've seen some situations not actually go according to what the purchaser, what the buyer actually thought. I'll give you a real life example. A client of ours a while back purchased a property. He bought it pre-construction. This was before actually we met him because he was selling the current home he was living in, because a couple years before that he had bought a pre-construction. He called me to sell this current home in preparation for the home he was buying closing, the new home. Well, he's showing off this new home to me. It's so much larger, and they paid $350,000 for the lot. The premium, just the premium on the lot was that much. And basically he had bought in a cul-de-sac, and it was a big pie-shaped lot, and it backed out onto a forest. And he's showing me this on paper. And then we're discussing the sale of his current home where he's living in. Well, as closing is starting to approach and things are starting to materialize, he goes by the site and he sees that his massive lot that, remember, he paid $350,000 premium, that outside the back door from the house, it's flat for maybe 10, 15 feet, and then it slopes up. And yes, there's a forest beyond that, but this large pie-shaped lot, most of it slopes up. It's not a gradual little tiny, it slopes, it basically renders the backyard useless. And he's talking to the builders, and he said, we never guaranteed that it was all going to be flat, and you could do things to change that, and you could build retaining walls. But that you're talking about massive. This is not the builder that was going to do this. He was advising the buyer, my client, that they're the ones that should be considering doing this down the road, and they never guaranteed that it was all going to be flat, that they're giving them the pie-shaped lot that backs onto a forest that my client paid for. That was unexpected, naturally. But we've seen other examples where people call me to sell their property, and it's a fairly new property. They've lived there, 2 years, 3 years. And when I show up there, they bought it because it backed onto a golf course. Now, anytime a property backs onto a golf course, if it's a resale property, realtors are bragging about you back onto a golf course. It's a premium. It's a nice feature. If you're buying pre-construction, man, the builder is putting a lot of advertising dollars letting you know it backs onto a golf course. Well, we've seen the example so many times. You buy because you're backing onto a golf course. You pay a premium that the homes across the street from you don't have, so you pay more. A few years later, that golf course gets rezoned and redeveloped, and now there's a bunch of houses in the back, but you paid a premium to be there, and now you're just like every other house. I've seen it go even worse than just homes like yours in the back. I've seen it where right in the back, they build 3-story townhouses. So not only are you not looking on a golf course, you're also not looking back at a similar home to yours, a similar detached, say. You've got these 3-story townhouses staring basically into your kitchen, into your bedroom on the second floor, because they got 3 stories. All sorts of things can happen out there. can you watch out for this? It's kind of hard, you know. You could think ahead. Look, if there's an empty lot in your backyard, I would bet on it being developed. It may be zoned for detached properties, but that zoning can change. And we've seen that many times where you buy next to an open field, you buy with the attitude of, you don't even pay a premium. You're just buying a new home and you know they're going to build later and you're okay with that. But you weren't okay with the 3-story townhouses looking in the backyard and, you know, lining the whole back, just blocking everything. You weren't okay with that. It just makes it so much more worse when you paid a premium and then all that happens and everything changes. And now you're thinking of selling because it's not. You feel cheated, actually. Lots of stories like that out there. If you've experienced this or you know some people that have experienced this, let me know in the comments below. If you think this video can help somebody you know, pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. There's a link below this video in the description. It's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. This show is all about the Peel and Durham region. Specifically, I'm looking at detached properties only for Mississauga, for Brampton, and for the Durham region, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. Here's a quick summary. Mississauga, Brampton, Durham. The difference in average sold price from the low to the high, the top of the food chain there being Mississauga, or the top of the price chain, we'll say Mississauga. The difference between the low and the high, it's $312,000. So there's a big difference between buying in one area versus buying in another. I mean, we all know that, though. Let's start off with Mississauga. Now, let me tell you what we expect, and sometimes we see it, and sometimes maybe not so much. But this is the second full week of the new year. We do expect, in most cases on a weekly basis, but not always, but we do expect overall sales to be increasing as we come out of the holiday season and kind of get through January, February, March. We do expect sales to be increasing. Now, average sold price may go up, may go down, but it's going to start to be more realistic as sales increase and we get a larger sample. Average sold price will start to make more, it'll be more of a real number versus now we're basing average sold prices, say, on 9 sales, 15 sales, or only 24 sales. So this is where you got to be a little bit careful for how you focus on the numbers right now. Average sold price, don't take it so seriously right now. Same thing with months of inventory. Don't take it so seriously right now. So let's have a look. Mississauga, sales are increasing. We did, for week ending January 15th, 24 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,437,000. 1,437 is 2% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of 1,348 is 5% higher. 24 were sold. 17% of those sold at list price or more. So that's 4. 17% of 24 is 4. Listings are up. We went from 66 to 91 detached properties being listed in Mississauga. Active listings are starting to climb, and months of inventory sitting at 3.9. And if we kind of look back to pre-holiday season, 3.9 seems, yeah, between 3.9 and say 4 or 5 is kind of normal for where we were pre-holiday season. So 3.9 months of inventory. Average days on market of the properties that sold, or it's the listings days on market, is 42. Here's Brampton. 33 detached properties were sold. I put a question mark because in most areas we're seeing sales increase. Brampton did not, but 33 is what we did the previous week. 2 of those 33, just like the previous week, sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price did come down to $1,141,000. 1141. It's a little bit higher, but it rounds off to a 0% change in average sold price year over year. The median price of $1,048,000 is 4% lower than what it was this time a year ago. 33 were sold, 21%, which is 7 of those sold at list price or more. 148 were listed, which is up from the previous week. 555 are the active listings, so active listings are starting to climb. Months of inventory sitting at 3.9, which you kind of look pre-holiday season. It's probably around where it was. Not probably, it's around where it was before. Here's Durham region. For Durham, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. For week ending January 15th, 27 detached properties were sold in Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. No properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price down a little bit from the previous week to $1,127,000. 1127 is 9% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 15% higher. Median price is $1,150,000. 27 were sold. 11 of those, 41%, sold at list price or more. So pretty competitive out there. 41% in the Durham region, the detached market, pretty competitive. It's one of the more competitive areas. 77 were listed, which listings are starting to increase. Active listings, not by much, but a little bit higher than the previous weeks. Months of inventory sitting at 2.2, which is kind of where we were pre-holiday season. 2.2 is pretty low. Here's a quick summary. In most cases, you're going to experience a balanced market. But if you're out in Durham region, specifically Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby, and you're looking for a detached property, you could come across some competition. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.